You're all familiar with this, right? This is a Nintendo. We recently rebuilt it as part of the Harley Project, and we pretty much took care of all the major shortcomings this thing had. Except for one, the drawer. Now, you're all familiar with the NES drawer. The reason for that is because they tried to make this look more like a VCR rather than a game system because of the stigma surrounding video games after the crash. And it's great for aesthetics, but not exactly great in practice because the unnecessary wear and tear, as well as having to push it down, bends the pins and also puts unnecessary wear on the cartridge, leading to the blinking light. For years, people have tried to fix this problem with the blinking light when you've seen some stuff about the Nintendo drawer recently. But there is another solution out there, and we're about to show you right now. We're going to install it, and we're going to show you it working because we're finishing up the Harley today with the Slotmaster. Alright, welcome back to another Twin Family video. I'm Rachel Schaefer, your host, and yes, it is finally here after months of waiting. We have got the Slotmaster, and if you'll notice, it looks a lot differently than you remember it looking initially. Well, that's because this is the second version of the Slotmaster, because the original version that was out that had the board had a little bit of an incompatibility with the Everdrive, which obviously we're using more, and we'd be doing the Everdrive N8 right after this for the NES, so we needed a Slotmaster that would work with it. Now, he uses now a Flex PCB, so I'll be installing that this afternoon and this week in this video. And of course, you see it's mostly a 3D print, and it's also got an eject mechanism. And I don't know if you see it under here. It shows you how it works. The cartridge is in. Let's just say the cartridge is in, right? Right here. And you pull this, the cartridge pops out because the cartridge needs to hit here in order to hit the back of the case. And he almost took it off there. So another plus about this is that it's also $30, whereas the Nintendo is $50. So if you're looking for a cheaper solution, this might be right up your alley. So we're going to take this apart, take the lid off, because this RF shield's just gotta go. So you can see our NES from that we did earlier. And we're going to start taking out these 6 screws. Alrighty, here's our 6 screws, and we're about to take the lid off. Ta-da! I know the lid's still going to be loose. So we're also going to take off the RF shielding, at least for the top. You got these screws here, these screws here. There we go, that took that screw out. So that should be all of the screws for the shell, for the RF shielding, so we're going to take that out. My hands are, whew, Jesus. Because I think the last time I opened this was before I had it sent out. So we need to take this drawer completely out. And we should hopefully be able to do it without having to remove the board itself. I'm not sure. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but there's these screws. These 2 screws back here don't need to be worried about. It's just these 4 here, 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 and here. Tell the dude that did this installation originally for the NES RGB was a little too heavy-handed with the screws. Okay, so I'm not going to remove it completely from the board. So I'm just going to unplug it. Ah, shit. There shouldn't be any... There we go. And that's the drawer. Bye-bye, drawer. Fuck you. All right. And also, perfect time to show you the Voltar expansion board, which is right here. And it goes underneath this. So if it works with that Nintendo drawer, it should work with this Nintendo drawer. It should work with this too. So this is a little bit easier to put in. Just need to take this and just slap it on. I'm just gonna use the, there we go, should be fine. And just put it back like that. And just line the screws up to here. And we should be golden. Ta-da! Okay. So now our Slotmaster's in. Now let's see if we could put the, and of course you see the eject mechanism, and it'll pop back when you put a game in there. But let's see if we can put the lid on it, if it'll fit. And it looks like it just might. Because I was prepared to go without the lid if I needed to. But it looks like we're in business. Alright, so we're good on this front. Now let's try to put the top shell on. Oh boy. One time the top shell's not going to fit. Lord. Unless I'm gonna put her in here. According to Laserbear, said they didn't need to cut the case. Oh, need to lift the fucking... Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, I see. So, when you're putting the top of the shell back on, you need to lift this, then you need to lift this flap here, the eject mechanism, then put it in the shell, then slip it back here because you don't need to cut it, it's just in the door. So be careful with that when you put it back in. Alright, so a little bit about how this works. See, it's got the slot mechanism there. The Everdrive or your NES cartridge goes in here. Catches on. And you got this little eject mechanism right here. And this cart slides out like that. Push it back in. Slide it in. It sticks out just a little bit, so beware of that. And normally it's got a nice kung fu grip, so you can't get it out while it's locked in. But you press the eject, and your cartridge comes out. Simple. So, now that that's in here, make sure it's nice and tight. Let's go to the TV and let's see if it works. And as you can see, we have our Nintendo installed. There's the Everdrive N8. I gotta hold the lid up because it loves to fall on its own, because how these newer shells are. But anyway, the cart does have to stick out because the eject mechanism's back here. And not sure if you can see, but our eject mechanism is around there. So I got my controller ready to go. So we're going to fire up and show you that it's working. And I think it even boots up quicker than the 72 pin. So we're going to press start because this is the last game I had programmed, and it's a good thing because not only does this test out the Everdrive, but it can also test out the expansion audio, both of which were concerns. And this is pretty much the one you want to go with. And as you can see, it's working. The expansion audio is fine. And as you can see, there is an Everdrive in the system. It's not running anything else. And this is a stock Nintendo. Nothing but the power cable, the NES RGB SCART into the OSSC. And OSSCs are still cheap and still good options, so anyone could use them. So now it's time to focus on re-reviewing the, well, not like a review, I don't really do reviews, but it's time to do another overview of the Everdrive N8 Pro, but this time for the NES. Because as I said earlier, that's the one that everyone's going to want to get, especially now with the Voltar expansion audio, the Nintendo or the Slotmaster, and these new shells and all this bells and whistles that you've seen. But because the NES is such a huge part of our retro gaming, I'm not just going to do the expansion audio in select games like I did last time. I'm going to be doing more playlists. For example, I'll be doing one with arcade ports. I might do one with rare NES games. Might just do a strict one with licensed titles. I'm not sure about that one yet. Because most of the good NES library is licensed games. So, but I will say one thing I'm definitely going to be doing is a Big John playlist. Because this NES was built in memory of my stepfather, it's only fair that I make a playlist of the games that he had when I was playing the NES with him. So that should be interesting to revisit those games. So for now, Harley is complete. The only thing is I might change the buttons to orange. I'm not sure yet, but that's insignificant. So we literally rebuilt the Nintendo, built the new controller from scratch. There's only one thing left to do, and that's dive once again into the Everdrive N8 Pro. So for now, I'm going to be playing some games. See you next week. Bye. Be cool with each other.